Not all cruise cabins are created equal, and picking the wrong one could ruin your trip. Choosing the wrong cabin could cost you more than just money. It could ruin your entire cruise. The location, the size, and even the view play a bigger role than you'd expect. I'm revealing the key factors that separate a great cabin from a disaster. Okay, I know. Another video about cabin choice. Yes and no. This is not your run-of-the-mill, why you should choose this versus that. This one is coming from years as a travel agent, listening to all the woes of, why didn't you tell me that an obstructed view meant I couldn't see? Why didn't you tell me that an interior meant it was inside and there was no sun? This video is going to be my take on how to choose a cabin, why to choose a cabin, where, and hopefully, you'll get a little nugget from it. So the last tip, this one can really save you a ton of headache, stress, and money. So let's talk about cruise cabins and which ones are actually worth the money. I'm going to give you a real quick overview just in case you haven't really sailed all that much. There's arguably 4 types of cabins: interior, ocean view, balcony, and suite. Okay. Yes, within the suite category, there's multiple kinds and sizes, but if you cruise in suites, you know about them. So interior means inside. Inside cabin means no sun. You will not have a window. You will not have a balcony. You will have 4 walls. Now, some people absolutely love that because when they shut that light off, it is pitch black and they can sleep. Some people need a nightlight. Ocean view rooms, exactly what it sounds like. You have a view of the ocean. You have a window, not a porthole. A window. A lot of times it is a round window, but it's arguably the size of a regular window at home. Okay, so you will get to see the ocean. You will get to see the sun when it comes up and when it goes down. Are usually about the same size as an interior room, maybe a little bit bigger, but big difference being you get to have a window. Balcony rooms. A couple of different types of balconies, but mainly a balcony stateroom means you've got your regular room and you've got a sliding glass door that you can open and walk out and you'll be on a balcony outside. A lot of them come with either, Virgin comes with the hammocks, which is kind of a novelty. Most cruise lines, you get 2 chairs and a little table, or if you've got maybe an aft-facing balcony, you'll get a couple of chase lounges and a table, maybe a couple of chairs too. All right. Suites. Suites are just like suites in a hotel. That, arguably the same options, but they're bigger. A 1-bedroom balcony suite, instead of being 250 to 300 square feet, it's going to be 400 or 500 square feet. So it's going to be larger. It's still going to be 1 bedroom. It's still going to be a balcony, but you'll have more of an actual sitting room instead of just, one big open room where you got bed and then couch and then door. Each one of these types of cabins costs different types of money. So interiors are arguably the least expensive on the ship because there's no window. Ocean view are next, and then balcony, and then suite. Your cruise experience will be different, arguably different with each of these types of cabins because the larger the room, the more time you'll be probably spending in that room. Is one key component there. If you've got an interior room, most likely you're going to leave that room in the morning and not come back until it's time for bed. If you've got a balcony, there's possibly you're going to be having breakfast on that balcony every morning, or just getting away from the 800 million people on the ship and sitting there and relaxing and enjoying the view. So deciding which type of room, which type of stateroom to book comes down to not just cost, but comfort and desirability as well. Now, once you figure out what type of room you want, now we got to talk about the location of on the ship from front to back. We're not talking left to right at this point. We're talking front to back. The forward end of the ship, where the pointy part is, the middle of the ship, which is called midship, and then aft, which is the back of the ship. Pros and cons for each one. If you are new to cruising or prone to motion sickness, you want to get midship, because if this is your cruise ship, it's going through the waves like this, okay? The front of the ship and the back of the ship are going to move up and down a lot more than the middle of the ship, because the front, the back, I'm not really good at illustration, but I think you get the point. There's going to be less movement, and that movement is part of what causes the motion sickness, okay? So if you're new or you're prone to motion sickness, stay midships. Now, the downside of that is that's the most desirable area of the ship to be in, so that's going to be more expensive. My wife and I are not very prone to motion sickness. Our preference would be aft cabins, forward cabins, and then midship. The main reason we like the aft or forward is less noise. When you're in the middle of the ship, you've got the elevators arguably nearby, and you're going to have a lot of people walking past you to get to their rooms. If you're on one end of the ship or the other, less noise because you got less people walking past your room at 3 a.m. drunk as all get out. Okay. So again, midship is the sweet spot, best balance of convenience and stability. Midships are also popular because it's closest to your elevators, closest to the stairs. So it's less walking. Cons, typically more expensive because they're in demand. The aft back part of the ship, pros, great views of that beautiful wake. They're quieter due to being farther from busy areas. The cons are that they are farther from those areas, from the restaurants, from the pools, the elevators, all that. And this is not a con to me, but a con to some people would be that, there is more motion during rough seas, okay? But if you love scenic views and you don't mind walking a bit, check out aft. Forward. Pros, arguably closer to the theater and the entertainment venues. They're usually on the front end of the ship. Cons, they're more motion. They can also be noisy due to proximity to the bridge and the mechanical areas. We were on the NCL Joy a couple of months ago, and we had a forward-facing cabin, and when we pulled into our ports, we could hear and feel the anchor being dropped. Now, it wasn't loud. It wasn't, like cover your ears, but we definitely heard it. Didn't bother us, but, if you're sensitive to noise, that might not be where you want to go. Now, let's talk about higher versus lower. Higher decks are good for better views. Obviously, you're up above, you can see farther, across the horizon, but you're more likely to feel the motion more because you're not at the waterline, you're up above it. So just like being forward or aft, you're going to feel that motion more. And also they potentially noisier because you're above the pool or above the pool deck area. So, all of that noise is going to come up. Lower decks, better as far as motion because, you're closer to the waterline. So you're not going to feel that. The downside is they are prone to engine noise and vibrations because you're closer to the engines. So you might feel that vibration. You might hear some engine noise the further down in the ship you go. Now let's talk about cost. Interior versus ocean view versus balcony. Interior cabins, most affordable. If you're on a very tight budget, definitely do the interior cabin. The downside, again, no natural light. Some people feel cramped or claustrophobic. To me, they're ideal for short trips or for people who, just because of their personality, don't spend much time in their cabin. Cheryl and I, my wife and I, we love a balcony. But honestly, we arguably split our cruise time between all three categories, interior, ocean view, and balcony, because if we have a balcony, we're going to spend some mornings in there having coffee. But ocean view and interior, we're up and we're out, and we come back to change or maybe take a cat nap, and then we're out again until midnight, 2 a.m. To each his own. Everybody's different. Ocean view cabins, natural light, beautiful views, and arguably not much more expensive than interior views. In general, I want to say, as a rough guide, $100 a person more. Downside, there's no balcony. So, again, if you're not in the room a whole lot, but you do want to know when that sun is up, that could be a good balance for you. Balcony cabins, you've got your own private outdoor space. A lot of times they're a little bit larger than the ocean view or the interior. Not always, but a lot of times you can get that fresh air. You can relax outside. Downside, they are more expensive, and there is less of them than pretty much any other category on the ship. Who are they ideal for? People that really value that outdoor space for that morning coffee or who just like to sit out there. Suites, largest cabins, private balconies, additional perks like priority boarding, exclusive areas. Like a lot of ships have bars and restaurants just for the people that are staying in suites. A lot of them will have your own. Some will have a private butler. Some won't have a private butler, but they'll have a concierge just for the suites. Downside, they are expensive and not necessarily for all travelers. Okay. Think of it as a special occasion, splurge kind of thing. Or if you're doing multi-generational travel, if it's grandma and grandpa mom and dad and kids, and you all want to experience that cruise together, maybe then it's you splurge for that 2-bedroom family suite. Now, let's talk about some hidden factors that can really affect that choice. Noise levels. When you're talking to your travel agent or you're looking to book it yourself and you think you have a cabin picked out, look on the deck plans. You can find deck plans all over the internet. See how close that room is to elevators, stairwells, kitchens, entertainment venues, crew access points, things like that, because each of those things can produce noise. And if you are very sensitive to noise, if you're a light sleeper, things like that, you want to avoid those rooms. A lot of people do not like to book rooms directly below the main dining room, directly below the pool deck for noise reasons, okay? Balcony cabin privacy. So a lot of people get balconies and they go out there and they think that it's 100% private. Nobody can see them. Nobody can hear them. Yeah, no, that's, if you look up a lot of times, the ships, most of them aren't straight up and down like this. Most of them have a slight incline to them. They get skinnier as it goes up. So if your balcony's here, the room above you, their balcony's here, they're looking down right on you. Okay, so think about that when you decide to go out on your balcony. You can tell that by looking at deck plans. You can also tell if it's a partially obstructed balcony. Is there a lifeboat? Is there a pillar? Is there, something for the bridge obstructing part of your view? Might not want to pay that premium for even a partially obstructed view. You want to look at where you are all around you, above, below, left, and right when you're looking at your room. Also consider the layout of the ship. If you have mobility issues, you might need to sacrifice the noise a little bit so that you're closer to elevators or dining rooms or the pools or the entertainment, okay? You might not want that forward or that aft room because, it's an extra, 200 to 300 feet each time you go to your room and leave again. So you got to think about that. Some common pitfalls and what to do instead. I get it. Being on a budget is a challenge, but sometimes choosing that cheapest option could really be a disaster. Let me explain. There is a booking category called a guaranteed a guaranteed interior, guaranteed ocean view, guaranteed balcony. Okay. They are pretty much always $100, $200, $300 less than a regular, let's say a guaranteed balcony. A guaranteed balcony is going to be, $300, $400, $500 less than a balcony where you get to choose your room because you're letting the cruise line choose your room for you. The upside is it's cheaper. The downside is they book that room, they choose your room for you, and you don't know what room you're staying in until a week or two before the cruise. You're going to get an obstructed view balcony. You're going to get, a balcony wherever they choose what room based on what's available in the last week or two before the cruise. Okay. You got to balance that. Okay. Do I really want to pick my room so I know exactly where I am and what's around me, or the saving of the money is more important and I don't really care where the room is? Balconies and suites are not equal in size. Okay, not all balconies are the same size and not all suites are the same size. Okay, check the square footage and the layout of that cabin, that balcony. Look for the square footage of the particular balcony you want, because some are smaller. There are different sizes based on where they are on the ship. Aft-facing balconies on a lot of ships are larger, just because of the way the ship is. They can't squeeze as many rooms in because the ship is only so wide. And also, a lot of times the balconies on the aft-facing balconies are larger. They're deeper, for lack of a better word. So look at those details. You know what you need, when it comes to quiet, when it comes to mobility, when it comes to how close you want to be to things, okay? This hidden tip can really save you stress and money. Research cabin reviews and deck plans. I know I've been talking about it throughout, but there are specific websites where not only can you get the deck plans for a specific room and point out specifically where it's at, but some people will leave a review where they'll say, hey, I love this room because it was far from this and it has this extra little cubby, or don't get this room because the anchor drops right below us and I can hear it in my dreams and my nightmares. Okay. Utilize these online tools. Utilize sites like Cruise Critic, TripAdvisor. Get those reviews about like from real passengers, reviews and photos. That way you know exactly what to expect and there's no surprises. Don't be afraid to ask for or bid on upgrades. A lot of times when you go to book your cruise, if you use a travel agent, have your travel agent ask if they're or ask them if they can find out if there are any free upgrades available. Cruise lines run, upgrade promotions every now and then. Make sure that your travel agent asks about that. If you're booking yourself, when you call them, ask if there's upgrade promos going on. Most cruise lines have a upgrade bidding program where a month or two maybe before your cruise, depending upon how sold out that particular sailing is, they'll send you an email asking if you want to bid on an upgrade. If you're in interior, they'll ask you if you want to bid on an ocean view or a balcony or even a suite. And if you want to consider it, you go to their website, there's a link, you go to their website, and it'll give you some guidelines as to how much money to bid. Make sure you read the fine print and find out if that bid, say you want to bid $100. Read the fine print, make sure you know if that $100 is per person, or if it's per person per night, or if it's $100 for the entire trip. You don't want to think it's $100 for the trip and have it turn out to be $100 per person per night, and you're on the hook for an additional $1,400. You don't want any surprises. Do your research, talk to your travel agent, know what you're getting yourself into, know what is your type of cruise cabin, and enjoy it. Now that you've learned the truth about the cruise cabins, you need to know how to cruise in luxury without the luxury price tag, right, Elio? Because if you don't, you can miss out on exclusive perks and upgrades that make the difference. I'm going to show you how to do this in the next video.